G'day guys, welcome to the Mitch Does Coffee YouTube channel. If you're new to coffee, you're most likely starting with a basic espresso machine that doesn't have a lot of control, and that is perfectly fine. Coffee is a deep rabbit hole that you're probably about to fall into, so I would like to be the first to say welcome to our world of obsession. So as I said, you've probably got a basic espresso machine, and that's why you're watching this video, to learn how to use the damn thing. There are plenty of videos on the internet about how to make the perfect espresso and then show you some incredible pressure profiled espresso shot and make it look super easy. But the reality is, it's not easy. However, I can show you a few very small tricks and hopefully remove the confusion from your early espresso days and maybe even catch you before you learn some bad habits. Now, I could show you a perfect shot from the San Remo cube that we have over here, but that's just silly. You don't have this machine, so that won't make any sense. And I could show you on the La Pavoni lever machine, but that video is already here. Check that one out if you've got that machine. If you don't, continue watching. So what will make sense is to use the cheapest espresso machine that I've ever owned, the Kmart La Anco, valued at a whopping $119. Now, I will admit I've made some fairly minor but essential mods in my opinion, and that includes throwing these horrible pressurized baskets in a drawer because they're not great. Please don't settle for those. This is going to make a good espresso almost impossible. I have replaced those with a proper VST style. As you can see, there's all the holes, not like that one. This is actually a dual wall. Silly thing. Please get rid of them. Now, probably the most noticeable thing I've done to this machine is I've cut the bottom of the portafilter off. There are quite a few reasons why I've done this, so I've put it in a complete video that you can check out after this one to help you understand why we've done that. So the first part of this lesson is all about how to build your recipe. But before we do that, pop your portafilter in your machine, turn everything on, and let everything get hot. This is extremely important. Now, machines generally do come with two baskets, but we're going to pretend that it only comes with one because this smaller basket goes in the bin. Don't use it. It's horrible. Please don't even try. And then we check what the larger basket is designed to hold, because the basket we have in this machine is a 16 to 18 gram basket, which will depend on how fine or coarse you grind. So let's meet in the middle and say it's a 17 gram basket. And then grab your calculator if need be and just type in 17 times 2, which equals 34 in this instance. So whatever that number is, if it's 16 gram, obviously you're getting 32 grams out, etc. Really, really simple math there. Just double the number in, and that's going to work out our 2-to-1 ratio. 17 grams in, 34 grams out. This will all make sense shortly. So I'm going to grind 17 grams of coffee at a fine setting, which will be close, but I guarantee this is the part that you will struggle with the most. Everyone does, that's okay. So I've got 17 grams of coffee here. As you can see, accurate scales are very important for this part. You don't need to spend a silly amount of money, but just be conscious that half a gram of coffee can make a decent amount of difference, especially when you're trying to build a recipe and you're getting frustrated as to why things aren't coming out nicely. And I know this is going to sound controversial and some people will disagree, but those people are wrong. I'm going to tamp hard. Hard, and you see the little twist there just to kind of polish the surface, and I'm making sure it's flat. If that isn't flat and even, you cannot get a good coffee. This is one of the reasons we're bottomless. We're going to check that out later so you can see what's happening. Now that our coffee is ready for extraction and we know what the number out is supposed to be. So we pop that guy in. Yes, it's modified so it doesn't fit amazingly, but it works. Pop the scales and a cup under there. And at the same time, we're going to push the button and the timer. just before you get to 34 grams, you want to stop it. It's gone a little bit over. But probably the most important thing there is that shot was finished closer to about 24 seconds. So it ran a little bit fast. The timer doesn't stop on its own, I'm sorry. But we did get out a decent coffee and it didn't look too bad, but it was slightly too fast. So all that means is we go one click finer on our grind setting and then go again. While your coffee is grinding, always do a little purge, clean up your mess. So we have 17 grams once again, one click finer on the grind setting, just to slow it down a little bit and just get that extraction to go a little bit longer, and that should be pretty well perfect. So the same amount of coffee, the same tamp, slightly finer on the grind. That is the only variable we're changing here, one variable at a time. So once again, we're aiming for 34 grams out, just hoping that it takes a little bit longer this time. Looking much nicer, more crema, nice and slow. So that was pretty well perfect. I stopped it, I restarted it. So the automatic setting I put it on was actually perfect. So 34 grams out in 28 to 30 seconds, perfect. That is a very nice shot. As you can see, lots of crema there. Why don't you focus on my coffee? There we go. Lots of crema, very, very good looking coffee. Let's give it a taste test. Got our coffee. You can give it a swirl. I would recommend stirring, is a little bit better, but we're not going into that either. It's a good little coffee. You know, it's not a $4,000 machine, but that is a perfectly acceptable espresso to start building your milk or however you want to drink your coffee. That's perfectly fine. So in a moment, I'm going to go through some of the other variables that you need to keep in mind, because we got lucky there. That was very easy. It's not always the case. So yes, we did get a little bit lucky there. That was fairly easy. I'm also using an extremely expensive grinder, which makes things a lot easier. A good grinder is going to make more of a difference than spending another $1,000 on a machine. Okay, please keep that in mind. If your coffee is decent, but you want to go the next level up, upgrade your grinder, not your machine. I will back that up forever. Well, until maybe something changes. But anyway, right now that's the case. So it's quite simple math. What we need to make sure you're doing, scales, so you're weighing in the amount of coffee and you're weighing out the amount of coffee. Then the only variable you need to look at is how long it took for the extraction. So like we had, the right amount of coffee in, the right amount of coffee out, but it happened too quickly. That means all we had to do was go a little bit finer on the grind setting. That's the only variable we changed, and it extended the extraction time to the correct number. So as a rule of thumb, don't hold me to this, every coffee is different, all recipes are different, but a great rule of thumb is a 1-to-2 ratio of espresso. So like we had 17 grams in, 34 grams out, 28 seconds. It's a good number. If you want to adjust from there, you can adjust from there. There's no right and wrong. If it's delicious to you, then that's the right recipe. That's all you need to worry about. Because me telling you that it has to be this amount in, has to be that amount out, and it has to take this long is ridiculous. I can't tell you what you like the taste of. So let's say that our coffee went the other way and took too long. It's quite simple. We do the opposite and just go one click coarser, which makes the coffee run faster. It's really, really simple to build a recipe this way. Scales and a timer. That's all you need. They're $130 scales. You can get a scale that will do almost as much for $20. You don't need to spend that much money on scales. I like USB rechargeable. They've got a built-in temperature probe. You don't need that stuff yet. That's all part of the rabbit hole that you'll be falling into shortly, I promise. But that's it, guys. You can do that on any machine, obviously. That thing's cheap and nasty. We're also giving that away shortly. Keep an eye on Patreon. If you're not following Patreon, you need to click on the link. Get on the Patreon. Support the channel. Win stuff. It's easy. Anyway, that's going to do, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourselves a great day and happy brewing.